You begin by noticing your breath, not changing it, not guiding it, just becoming aware of the quiet rhythm as it moves in and slowly back out again. The day has been long, even if nothing dramatic happened. Thoughts may still be lingering, circling gently, unsure where to land. Tonight, you don't need to untangle them. You don't need to understand them. You are allowed to rest without explanation. Somewhere far from noise and hurry, there exists a place that only reveals itself when the world grows still enough to listen. A frozen garden, not frozen in a harsh or lonely way, but preserved in a peaceful hush, as though time itself decided to slow down and breathe. You imagine the air there first, cool, clean, and calm. The kind of air that feels refreshing rather than cold. It fills your lungs easily, gently, leaving a sense of clarity behind. The garden rests beneath a quiet winter sky, where soft clouds drift slowly, unbothered by urgency. Snow has settled everywhere. On stone paths, on low garden walls, on the gentle curves of statues standing peacefully among frost-covered trees. These statues are not imposing. They do not watch or judge. They simply rest. Each one is caught in a moment of stillness, heads slightly bowed, hands folded or open, expressions softened by time and snowfall. They feel less like monuments and more like reminders that stillness itself can be beautiful. As you picture this place, your shoulders begin to loosen, your jaw softens, your brow smooths. The frozen garden asks nothing from you. You are not expected to explore, to solve, or to understand. You are simply invited to arrive. Snow falls slowly here, each flake drifting downward with quiet patience. The sound is barely noticeable, a soft hush that blankets the space in peace. The world beyond the garden feels distant now, as though wrapped in layers of calm. You sense that this garden exists for one purpose only: to hold quiet thoughts, to rest tired minds, to give overthinking somewhere gentle to settle. As you stand at the edge of this frozen sanctuary, you feel no pressure to move forward. Even standing still feels like enough. The garden waits, unhurried, unchanging, ready to welcome you whenever you choose to step inside. Your breathing grows slower without effort, in and out. With every breath, the noise of the day fades a little more. With every moment, the frozen garden feels closer, clearer, calmer. And as you prepare to enter, you understand something softly and surely. Nothing in this place will rush you. Nothing here will disturb your rest. The frozen garden is waiting, quiet, peaceful, and patient, just for you. You take your first slow step forward. The moment your foot touches the snow-covered path, a deep quiet settles around you. Not sudden, not startling, but complete. It feels as though the frozen garden has gently closed its doors behind you, sealing out the distant world and all its unfinished thoughts. The snow beneath your feet is soft and undisturbed. It does not crunch loudly. It simply yields, creating a muted sound that blends into the hush of the air. Every step feels intentional, slowed, as if the garden itself is guiding your pace. You don't rush. There is no reason to. The path curves gently ahead, bordered by low stone edges softened by snow. Frost clings delicately to every surface, turning ordinary shapes into quiet works of art. Even the smallest details, a fallen leaf, a rounded stone. The edge of a statue's base feel carefully placed, as though the garden has been waiting patiently for someone to notice them. The air here is cool but kind. It brushes your skin lightly, refreshing rather than cold. Each breath you take feels cleaner, calmer, as if it is washing away the weight you carried in with you. You inhale slowly and exhale just as gently, feeling your chest rise and fall in an easy rhythm. Ahead, the statues begin to appear more clearly. They stand among the trees and along the pathways, partially dusted with snow. None of them are large or imposing. They are human-sized, familiar in scale, their shapes softened by time and frost. One statue sits on a low stone bench, hands resting loosely in its lap, head tilted slightly downward, as if listening to something only it can hear. Snow has gathered on its shoulders, on its hair, along the folds of its clothing. The expression on its face is peaceful, not smiling, not sad, simply at rest. Another statue stands near a frozen fountain, its surface glazed with thin ice that catches the pale winter light. Water once flowed here, but now it sleeps, preserved beneath frost, waiting patiently for warmth to return. Nothing feels abandoned. Everything feels paused. You move closer, your footsteps slowing even more as you approach the statues. There is no sense of being watched, no discomfort. Instead, you feel an unexpected familiarity, as though these figures are companions in rest rather than objects to observe. You realize something softly. These statues are not frozen because they were trapped. They are frozen because they chose to rest. That thought settles warmly inside you as you continue along the path. You notice how evenly spaced the statues are, how they seem to form quiet pockets of stillness throughout the garden. Each one appears to be holding a different moment, a pause, a breath, a release. Snow continues to fall gently, drifting down in slow, lazy patterns. The flakes are large and light, landing silently on stone, on branches, on your shoulders. You don't brush them away. There is no need. The garden accepts them just as it accepts you. Your shoulders lower slightly. Your hands loosen at your sides. The deeper you walk, the more the outside world fades. Thoughts that once felt loud now seem distant, as if muffled by layers of snow. You are not trying to silence them. They simply lose interest in following you here. The trees around you are tall and bare, their branches etched delicately against the pale sky. Frost outlines every twig, turning them into fine white lines. Like drawings made of ice, they do not sway much. Even the wind seems to respect the stillness of this place. You pause for a moment near the center of the garden. From here, you can see several paths branching off gently, each one disappearing between statues and trees. There is no sign telling you where to go. No direction feels more important than another. You understand instinctively that there is no wrong path. Wherever you go, the garden will meet you with the same quiet care. A stone bench nearby is dusted with snow, inviting without demanding. You sit down slowly, feeling the cool surface beneath you, softened by the layer of snow. It is not uncomfortable. In fact, it feels grounding, steady, solid. You rest your hands on your thighs. Your breathing deepens naturally, in and out. The silence here is not empty. It is full of rest, of patience, of time stretching wide enough for you to finally slow down. You look at the statues again. Up close, you notice small details. The curve of a hand, the gentle tilt of a head, the softness of expressions carved long ago. Snow fills tiny creases and edges, smoothing everything further, as if winter itself is helping them relax. You feel a strange sense of permission. Permission to pause, permission to stop processing, permission to simply exist. The frozen garden does not ask who you are or where you've been. It does not care how productive your day was or how many thoughts are still unresolved. It welcomes you exactly as you are, tired, quiet, ready to rest. Snow continues to fall, time continues to slow, and as you sit there, surrounded by sleeping statues and winter stillness, you feel yourself settling into the garden's rhythm. Calm, unhurried, and deeply at ease. You remain seated for a while longer, letting the stillness settle into you more deeply. There is no pressure to move, yet after some time, you feel a gentle readiness, not urgency, just a soft invitation to continue exploring. You rise slowly from the bench, brushing a thin layer of snow from your coat with an unhurried motion. The cold stone beneath you keeps its calm silence, as if acknowledging your presence without comment. As you step forward again, the garden seems to open slightly, revealing more of its quiet depth. The path narrows here, winding between statues that stand closer together. They form a kind of corridor, their stone faces turned in different directions, each absorbed in its own peaceful moment. Some appear to be reading, others resting, a few gazing gently upward toward the pale sky. None of them appear hurried. None of them seem incomplete. The snow gathers along their shoulders and hairlines, softening their features until they almost appear to be breathing. Slow, steady breaths that match your own. You notice how your steps naturally fall into rhythm with this imagined cadence, your body responding without conscious effort, in and out. A soft glow begins to appear ahead. It is subtle at first, barely noticeable through the drifting snow, like a reflection rather than a light source. As you move closer, you realize it comes from lanterns, old-fashioned, iron-framed lanterns placed at intervals along the path. Their light is warm and golden, contrasting gently with the cool blue, white of the snow. They do not flicker harshly. They glow steadily, patiently, illuminating only what needs to be seen. The lantern light reveals more details in the garden. The texture of stone, the faint patterns etched into statue bases, the delicate footprints left by small animals who passed through earlier and have since vanished into the quiet. You feel comforted by the presence of light, not because the garden was dark, but because it feels intentional, like someone thought ahead and left these lanterns for moments exactly like this. You pass one lantern slowly, noticing how frost has traced its metal edges in fine white lines. Snow rests gently on top undisturbed, as if even gravity has slowed down here. Further along, the garden opens into a wider clearing. At its center stands a large circular platform, slightly raised above the snow-covered ground. Around it, statues are arranged in a loose circle, each one seated or standing in a posture of rest. None face directly inward, none face directly outward. Instead, they seem turned slightly askew, as though sharing the space rather than observing it. You step onto the platform. The stone beneath your feet feels ancient and steady, holding warmth in its depth despite the cold surface. Snow has been brushed aside here, not recently, but intentionally, as if this space is meant to be felt rather than hidden. You stand quietly at the center. For a moment, you become aware of your own body, your weight, your balance, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. There is no discomfort in this awareness. It feels grounding, almost reassuring. Then something subtle shifts. Not in the garden, but within you. You realize that the statues around you are not reminders of stillness alone. They are reflections of something deeply familiar. Each one seems to hold a version of rest you have long postponed. Moments where nothing was demanded of you, where your mind was allowed to soften without explanation. You don't analyze this feeling, you simply allow it. Snow continues to fall, landing quietly on the platform's edge, on the statue's laps, on the ground beyond. The world feels reduced to essentials: breath, light, presence. You take a slow turn, observing the statues one by one. One holds a journal against its chest, fingers relaxed, as though it fell asleep mid-thought. Another leans slightly forward, elbows resting on knees, gaze lowered, not burdened, just contemplative. A third reclines gently, eyes closed, face lifted toward the sky as if listening to the silence itself. None of them feel unfinished. They are complete in their pause. A sense of safety settles deeper into you. The garden does not expect you to understand its purpose. It does not ask you to remember anything or decide anything. It simply exists and allows you to exist within it. After some time, you step off the platform and continue along a different path, one that slopes gently downward. The lanterns follow this route too, their glow stretching ahead like a calm promise. The air grows slightly cooler here, but still gentle. Snow clings more thickly to the branches overhead, occasionally releasing in soft, powdery falls that disappear before they reach the ground. You notice how quiet your thoughts have become, not absent, just softened, like sounds heard through layers of snow. There is no need to push them away. They drift on their own, leaving behind a growing sense of calm. The path curves once more, leading you deeper into the garden. Ahead, partially hidden by trees and frost, you glimpse something different. A structure of sorts, low and wide, its shape softened by snow. It does not stand out sharply. It blends into the landscape as naturally as the statues. As if it has always been here, you feel a gentle curiosity, not urgency, not anticipation. Just a quiet interest, warm and unhurried. With each step toward it, your body feels heavier in the best possible way, grounded, relaxed, supported by the earth beneath the snow. The frozen garden continues to cradle you in silence and light, guiding you forward without ever rushing you. And somewhere ahead, the next layer of this peaceful place waits patiently for you to arrive. The structure ahead grows clearer as you move closer, though it never fully demands your attention. It sits low against the snowy ground, wide and gentle in shape, its roof sloping softly beneath a thick layer of snow. The walls appear to be made of the same pale stone as the statues, though warmer somehow, as if they have absorbed years of quiet moments. Frost traces faint patterns along its edges, curling like delicate handwriting left by winter itself. You slow your steps without thinking. There is no reason to rush toward this place. It feels patient, as if it has been waiting for as long as it needs to. The path leading to it widens slightly, and the lanterns here glow a little closer together. Their light pools softly on the snow, creating overlapping circles of warmth. Each step you take passes from one circle into the next, like moving through layers of calm. You notice the sound of your footsteps has almost disappeared. Snow no longer crunches. It simply receives you. As you reach the entrance, you see that there is no door in the usual sense. Instead, a wide arch opens into the structure, its interior dimly lit by a low, steady glow. The air just inside looks warmer, calmer, untouched by the drifting snow outside. You pause at the threshold, not out of hesitation, but out of respect. Crossing into this space feels like entering a deeper quiet, one that invites you to lower your voice, even inside your own thoughts. When you step through, the temperature shifts gently, not warm enough to contrast the cold sharply, but softened like the inside of a coat that has held warmth for a long time. The floor beneath your feet is smooth stone, lightly dusted with snow that has blown in but never settled thickly. Inside, the structure opens into a circular hall. The ceiling curves overhead, supported by stone columns spaced far apart, giving the room an open, breathing feeling. Between the columns stand more statues, fewer than outside, but closer, more intimate. These are smaller, positioned at ground level, their poses quieter still. Some sit on low stone stools, some kneel, some simply rest their hands in their laps. All of them feel deeply at ease. Soft light comes from wall-mounted lanterns, their glow reflected faintly in the polished stone floor. The reflections are blurred and gentle, like memories softened by time. You move toward the center of the hall. There, a shallow circular basin rests in the floor, filled not with water, but with snow so fine it resembles powdered silk. It is untouched, smooth, perfectly still. The lantern light dances faintly across its surface, creating slow, drifting shadows. You kneel beside it. The cold does not bite. It feels distant, muted, as if even the chill has learned how to be gentle here. You place your hand just above the surface of the snow, not touching, only hovering, and feel the quiet radiating upward. This place does not want interaction, it wants presence. As you remain there, breathing slowly, something subtle begins to happen. space feels less like a building and more like a pause made solid, a moment where time decided to rest instead of move forward. Your thoughts, which once ran ahead of you, begin to sit beside you instead. They do not speak loudly. They simply settle. You realize how rarely that happens. The statues around the basin seem to hold this pause for you. Their stillness is not empty. It is full of patience, full of understanding, full of permission to stop trying. You sit back on your heels and let your shoulders drop. Your jaw loosens, your brow smooths, your breath deepens without effort. The hall seems to respond, its quiet deepening in return. Somewhere above, snow slides softly from the roof and lands outside with a sound so faint it barely exists. The lantern flames do not flicker. Nothing here is disturbed by movement beyond its walls. After a while, time has softened so much it barely matters. You stand again and move slowly along the inner edge of the hall. Each statue reveals new details up close. Fine cracks in the stone filled with frost. The gentle curve of hands shaped to hold nothing. Faces carved not in joy or sorrow, but in acceptance. One statue, smaller than the others, sits with its head slightly tilted. As if listening, you feel an odd sense of recognition when you look at it. Not because it resembles you, but because it reflects a feeling you know well. The feeling of waiting for quiet to arrive. You linger there. No pressure pulls you forward. Eventually, you notice a second archway on the far side of the hall. It opens back into the garden, but into a different section. One where the trees grow closer together, their branches heavy with snow, forming a soft canopy overhead. You pass through slowly. Outside again, the air feels even more hushed than before. The snowfall has thinned to a gentle drift, flakes descending lazily, unhurried, each one finding its place. The path here is narrower, winding between trees whose trunks are wrapped in frost. Lanterns are fewer now, spaced farther apart, their light dimmer, but not absent. Enough to guide, never to overwhelm. You feel a deep sense of comfort walking this path, as if the garden has learned your pace and adjusted itself to match. Your body feels heavier now, not tired, but deeply relaxed, like sinking into a mattress that remembers your shape. Each step feels supported, guided safe. The statues here are different. They are half hidden among the trees, partially covered in snow, as if they have been here longer, allowing nature to reclaim them gently. Some are barely visible at all, just a shoulder, a hand, the curve of a face emerging from the white. They do not demand to be seen. They are content being known quietly. You pass one statue whose hand extends outward, palm open. Snow has gathered there, forming a small mound. It looks like an offering, not something asked for, but something given freely. You pause beside it. For a moment, you imagine placing something invisible into that open palm. A worry, a thought, a weight you have carried without noticing. You do not name it. You do not analyze it. You simply imagine setting it down, and then you move on. The path slopes gently downward again, and the garden seems to deepen, as if you are moving not forward, but inward. The lantern light fades further, replaced by a soft glow that seems to come from the snow itself, reflecting the pale sky above. Your thoughts are now slow, spaced far apart. Between them, there is room to breathe, room to rest, room to drift. Ahead, the path curves once more, disappearing into a softly lit clearing you have not yet seen. You feel no need to prepare for what's there. Whatever waits will be gentle. The frozen garden continues to hold you in its quiet embrace, guiding you deeper into rest, deeper into stillness, deeper into sleep. The clearing opens slowly before you, as if the garden is careful not to startle your senses. Snow here lies smoother than anywhere else, untouched and luminous beneath the pale night sky. The trees form a wide circle around the space, their branches arching inward like a quiet shelter. The wind has almost entirely faded, leaving the air so still that even your breath feels softer than before. At the center of the clearing stands a single statue. It is taller than the others, yet not imposing. Its posture is simple, standing upright, hands resting gently at its sides, head slightly bowed. Snow rests on its shoulders and crown, but not enough to hide its form. The stone beneath the frost holds a subtle warmth in its color, a faint ivory glow that feels comforting rather than cold. You stop several steps away. There is no instruction to come closer, no pull, no pressure. Just a sense that this statue is aware of your presence, not in a watching way, but in the way a room feels aware when someone enters quietly. You take one slow step forward. The snow beneath your feet barely compresses, as if the ground itself wishes to remain smooth. The lanterns here are different too, fewer, dimmer, placed farther back near the trees, allowing the clearing to be lit mostly by reflected light. Everything feels softened, edges blurred, like a dream that does not want to be fully defined. As you approach the statue, you notice something carved into the stone at its base. It is not writing. It is not symbols. It is texture, shallow grooves, flowing gently around the base in looping patterns like ripples in frozen water. They circle outward, overlapping softly, creating a sense of movement despite the stillness. You kneel to look closer. Your fingers hover just above the grooves, tracing their path without touching. The patterns feel familiar in a way that is difficult to explain, like the rhythm of breathing or the memory of a lullaby you once knew by heart. Standing again, you notice the statue's face. It is calm, neutral, unfinished in a deliberate way. The eyes are not detailed, only gently shaped, as if left open for interpretation. The mouth holds no expression, neither smile nor frown. Yet something about it feels deeply kind. You realize then that this statue does not represent a person. It represents a state, a moment where nothing needs to be fixed, a moment where nothing needs to be solved, a moment where simply being is enough. You stand there longer than you realize. Time does not pass here the way it usually does. It stretches gently, like a blanket pulled over restless thoughts. The clearing seems to breathe with you. Slow inhale, slow exhale, matching your rhythm without effort. Your shoulders drop a little more. Your spine relaxes. Your mind, once busy stitching together worries and plans, begins to loosen its grip. Thoughts still appear, but they arrive quietly, like snowflakes landing without sound. You let them come. You let them go. Around the clearing, more statues become visible as your eyes adjust. They stand farther back among the trees, arranged not in rows, but in gentle arcs. Each one faces inward toward the center, toward the shared quiet. They are not identical. Some are taller, some smaller, some carved with smoother lines, others more textured, yet all of them hold the same stillness. You sense that each statue carries a different kind of rest, one shaped by patience, another by release, another by acceptance. They do not ask you to choose one. They simply offer their presence. You begin to walk slowly around the clearing. Your steps trace a wide circle, mirroring the grooves carved into the stone at the center. With each step, the world feels more distant, not gone, but softened like a sound fading into the background. As you move, you notice small details emerging from the snow. A stone bench half buried near a tree. A lantern resting low to the ground, its flame barely flickering. A path branching off beyond the clearing, narrower than the others, leading deeper into the garden. You feel no urgency to follow it yet. Instead, you sit on the stone bench. The surface is cold, but not unkind. Snow has been brushed away, revealing smooth stone beneath. When you sit, your body settles immediately, as if it has been waiting for this exact position. You rest your hands in your lap. Your breathing deepens further. In the silence, you begin to notice something else. A presence that is not visual or audible, but emotional. The garden feels attentive, as though it is listening to you without expecting words. You do not speak. There is nothing to explain. Still, you feel understood. This place seems to hold space for everything you have not said, the thoughts you never finished, the feelings you never named, the fatigue that crept in slowly over time. None of it feels heavy here. It simply exists, acknowledged and allowed to rest. The statues seem to share this understanding. They do not judge. They do not interpret. They do not respond. They simply remain. You realize then that the frozen garden is not meant to change you. It is meant to meet you where you already are. A soft snowfall begins again, barely noticeable at first. The flakes descend lazily, settling on the statues, the branches, the smooth ground. Each one lands without urgency, without sound. You watch them fall. Your eyelids grow heavier, not tired, peaceful. You lean back slightly on the bench, allowing yourself to be supported fully. The cold air brushes your face gently, refreshing without waking you. Somewhere in the distance, a lantern hums faintly, its flame steady. The world feels smaller now, safer, contained within this quiet circle of trees and stone. After some time, how long no longer matters. You stand again and turn toward the narrow path leading out of the clearing. It curves gently, disappearing behind a cluster of frost-covered trees. You feel ready to follow it, not because you must, but because it feels natural to continue. As you step onto the path, the clearing remains behind you, holding its stillness without loss. The statue at the center does not change, does not watch you leave. It knows you will carry the quiet with you. The path slopes downward once more, guiding you deeper into the garden's heart. The lanterns ahead glow softer still, their light blending with the snow, until the difference between illumination and darkness becomes gentle and vague. Your thoughts are now sparse, drifting slowly like clouds thinning in a winter sky. With each step, your body relaxes further. With each breath, sleep draws closer, not as an ending, but as a continuation of this deep, steady calm. The frozen garden continues to walk beside you, silent and kind, leading you onward into rest. The path narrows as you continue forward, yet it never feels confining. Snow cushions every step, softening the world beneath you until even the idea of sound feels distant. The trees here stand closer together, their branches leaning inward, not to block your way, but to create a quiet corridor of shelter. Frost gathers along their edges like delicate lace, catching the lantern light in small, shimmering reflections. You move slowly. There is no reason to hurry. The garden has adjusted itself to your pace, matching you perfectly. The air feels warmer here, not in temperature, but in presence. As if the cold has learned how to be gentle. Ahead, the lanterns grow fewer, but brighter. Their light pools on the snow in rounded shapes, overlapping softly, forming a path that feels guided rather than directed. You follow instinctively, allowing your body to move without instruction. With every step, your thoughts feel lighter. The edges of worry blur, not because they are pushed away, but because they no longer ask for attention. They settle, folding themselves into the quiet like letters placed gently into envelopes. The garden seems to notice. The statues you pass now appear different. They are seated instead of standing, resting on stone benches, leaning against tree trunks, kneeling beside frozen fountains. Each posture feels natural, unguarded. Snow gathers on their shoulders and laps, undisturbed. These statues feel closer somehow, not closer in distance, but in understanding. Their stillness mirrors the way your body now rests within itself. Your shoulders are loose, your jaw unclenches, your breathing flows in an easy rhythm, slow in, slow out, like a tide that knows exactly when to rise and fall. You pause beside one statue resting beneath a tree. It sits with its head tilted slightly upward, as though listening. Snow has collected in the curve of its palms. The stone is smooth, worn by time, softened by frost. You do not touch it. You don't need to. The presence alone feels enough. A gentle realization drifts through you. This garden does not ask you to become anything. You do not need to heal faster. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to arrive anywhere. Here, rest is not a reward. It is the default. You continue walking until the trees open into another space, smaller than the clearing before, but deeper in feeling. The ground dips slightly, forming a shallow basin where snow has settled evenly, untouched. At the center rests a frozen pool. Its surface is smooth and pale, like glass clouded by moonlight. Beneath the ice, faint shapes shimmer, not reflections, but memories of movement, ripples paused mid-breath, currents held gently in place. Lanterns encircle the pool at a respectful distance, their glow reflected softly across the ice. You kneel at the edge. The cold seeps through your clothing, grounding without discomfort. When you look into the frozen surface, you do not see your face clearly. Instead, you see light and shadow blending, nothing defined, nothing sharp. And somehow, that feels comforting. The garden seems to whisper without sound. You don't have to see everything clearly to be at peace. Your eyelids grow heavier now, not suddenly, not forcefully. Just naturally, you sit back on your heels, letting your spine straighten, then soften again. The world around you feels slower, thicker, as if time itself has decided to rest beside you. Snow continues to fall, each flake drifting down with unhurried grace. They land on the frozen pool, on the lantern frames, on your sleeves, melting slowly or not at all. You notice how easy it feels to simply observe. No commentary, no analysis, no need to connect meaning. Just noticing. The statues around the pool seem to lean inward slightly, as if sharing the moment. Their forms blur gently at the edges. Softened by snowfall and light, You breathe in, out. Each breath carries less effort than the last. Your body feels heavy now, not weighed down, but pleasantly grounded, like settling into a bed that remembers you. The garden responds. The lanterns dim just a little, not fading, but lowering themselves to match your drifting awareness. Shadows stretch gently, not dark, just quiet. The frozen pool holds its stillness. You feel a sense of completion here, not an ending, but a fullness, as if nothing is missing and nothing needs to be added. After some time no longer measured, you rise slowly. Your movements are unhurried, dreamlike. A final path reveals itself beyond the pool, wide and smooth, leading away through softly glowing trees. The snow there looks untouched, inviting, peaceful. This path feels like rest itself. As you step onto it, the garden does not fade behind you. It remains present, surrounding you, accompanying you. The statues, the lanterns, the frozen quiet, all of it moves with you, settling gently into the background of your awareness. Your thoughts are now few. Your body is calm. Sleep feels close, not approaching, but already beside you, waiting patiently. The path slopes downward, gradually, comfortably, guiding you toward deeper rest, and with every step, you sink further into the softness of the night. The path continues to slope downward, almost imperceptibly, as if the earth itself is breathing you closer to rest. Snow beneath your feet feels softer than before, no longer cold, no longer distinct. Each step sinks gently, leaving only the faintest impression behind, an imprint that fades almost as soon as it appears. The garden seems to be teaching you how to let go, even of movement. The lanterns grow wider apart now. Their glow stretches thin and hazy through the falling snow, blending with moonlight until light and darkness lose their boundaries. Everything feels muted, wrapped in a quiet that is no longer empty, but full of ease, full of rest. Your body moves without effort. You no longer guide your steps, the path does. It curves softly through rows of statues that now appear reclined, resting fully. Some lie back against stone walls covered in frost. Others sit with heads bowed, hands folded loosely, as though they have already surrendered to sleep. These statues no longer feel like guardians or witnesses. They feel like companions. Each one seems to be resting alongside you, sharing the same deep calm. Snow gathers on them evenly, lovingly as though tucking them in. Your breathing has slowed further, in, out. Each breath flows deeper into your chest, then lower still, spreading warmth through your body. Your shoulders feel heavy, your arms relaxed, your hands loose, fingers barely aware of themselves. The garden notices. The wind, which once whispered through branches, has gone completely still. The air holds you gently, like a pause that has decided to last. Ahead, the path opens into one final space. It is not a clearing. It is a hollow, a shallow bowl formed by snow-covered stone, sheltered on all sides by tall trees and curved walls of ice, smoothed rock. Lanterns rest low here, almost at ground level, their light diffused by frost glass panels. At the center lies a wide stone platform, warmed slightly by hidden earth heat. Snow has melted just enough to reveal its smooth surface, dry and inviting. This place feels unmistakable. This is where the garden rests. You step onto the platform. The moment your weight settles, your body responds instantly. Muscles soften, your spine aligns effortlessly. It feels as though the stone has been shaped precisely for you, remembering every place you need support. You sit, then slowly you recline. The cold does not reach you here. Instead, a gentle warmth rises through the stone, spreading beneath your back, your legs, your shoulders. The contrast between warm ground and cool air creates a perfect balance. Soothing, grounding, safe. Snow continues to fall beyond the hollow, but none reaches you directly. Above, the sky is pale and clouded, glowing softly with reflected moonlight. You cannot see stars, and you do not need to. The sky feels complete as it is. Your eyelids grow heavy now, not pulled down, not forced. They simply begin to rest. The statues surrounding the hollow seem farther away, their forms blurring gently. Their edges soften until they feel less like stone and more like memory. The lanterns dim again, just enough. The garden has shifted fully into sleep mode. Your thoughts arrive more slowly now, spaced far apart. Each one drifts in gently, then dissolves before forming fully. There is no effort required to release them. They fade on their own, like snowflakes melting upon warm skin. Your breathing deepens further. In, out. Each exhale carries away the last traces of tension. Each inhale brings in calm, cool, clean air. You feel a gentle heaviness behind your eyes. Your jaw loosens. Your tongue rests softly. Your brow smooths completely. The garden seems to hum, not with sound, but with presence. A deep, steady stillness that holds you without asking anything in return. You realize something quietly beautiful. This place will remain here, whether you are awake or asleep. You do not need to watch it. You do not need to remember it. It has already done its work. The frozen garden has given you permission to rest. Snow settles more thickly now beyond the hollow, covering paths, benches, footprints. The world outside grows indistinct, wrapped in layers of white silence. Inside the hollow, everything remains unchanged. Safe, warm, still. Your awareness begins to drift, not slipping, not falling, drifting, like floating on calm water, supported without effort. Your breath becomes slower still, each one barely noticeable. Your body feels distant now, pleasantly so, as if you are resting just behind yourself, watching sleep arrive gently. The garden does not say goodbye. It does not need to. It simply stays, and as your thoughts finally quiet, as the last edge of wakefulness softens and fades, the frozen garden of sleeping statues rests with you, holding the night steady, quiet, and kind. You remain there, gently cradled by the hollow's quiet. There is no need to move, no need to speak, no need to do anything at all. The statues watch in stillness, not waiting for you, not expecting anything, simply being. Their quiet presence wraps around you like a soft, invisible blanket. You feel it settle over your shoulders, across your chest, along the back of your neck. The snow beyond continues to fall, soft and patient. Each flake drifts downward slowly, landing where it will, untouched by urgency or expectation. The air is clean, cool, and calm, filling your lungs effortlessly, as if reminding you that this moment, this pause, is yours alone. You breathe in and out. Time seems to have slowed entirely. Each heartbeat echoes gently, barely noticeable, as if the garden itself has synchronized with your rhythm. You do not need to think. You do not need to remember. You do not need to prepare. The hollow does not demand anything from you. It simply exists, and in existing, it offers you the deepest kind of permission to rest fully, without apology, without concern, without thought. You feel yourself sinking into the stone beneath you, supported perfectly. Muscles loosen, mind softens. Thoughts drift like slow, moving clouds drifting, fading unhurried. A gentle warmth rises through the hollow, spreading quietly beneath your back, around your legs, across your shoulders. Snow, lantern light, and stone blend into a seamless hush, an embrace of stillness that feels infinite. You notice the faintest sounds, the soft settling of snow outside, a lantern hum so subtle it might be imagined, the tiny sigh of wind brushing distant branches. Everything is gentle, everything is safe, and you realize something softly, almost as if the garden is whispering it directly into your heart. You do not need to carry the day with you any longer. You do not need to hold on to thoughts or worries. You do not need to arrive anywhere. The garden is here, always, waiting, patient, quiet. You let your eyelids fall heavier. Your breathing slows naturally, effortlessly. Your body and mind merge into the stillness around you. A wave of calm moves through every part of you, from the tips of your fingers to the soles of your feet. And as sleep begins to approach, not rushing, not pulling, simply arriving, you feel the garden walk beside you, not behind, not ahead, but always near. It does not ask for farewell. It does not disappear. It does not change. It simply holds the night steady, steady as your own heartbeat, steady as your breath. And in this perfect, patient pause, you drift slowly, gently, fully. The frozen garden of sleeping statues rests with you. The world outside may continue, but here, within this quiet circle of snow, stone, and stillness, you are home. And sleep, deep and kind, has finally arrived.